turn to the teacher. Turn to the teacher. Turn to the teacher. Turn to the teacher.
And welcome back. I'm Mike with the Turntable Teachers, and class is back in session, here for another guest speaker episode at AOA Studios. If you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, make sure to reach out to us at aoastudios.org to book your session or service today. And I am joined today by a very special guest. I'm gonna be a little less traditional as I am with this episode, for a couple reasons. First of all, because it feels as though when I was thinking back to it, it feels as though I should have already had you on the show. Do you feel the same?
Yes.
We've
been working so hard, so long.
We've been working for a long time now. I mean, probably a year and a half now, I think. It feels longer than maybe it has been, because we've done so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels as though when I thought back to it, I was like, wait. And maybe, not to say I took you for granted necessarily, but I'm like, I don't think I've had Lib on the show. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because I was kicking myself a little bit for it because I'm like, man, why haven't you had Lib on yet? This is crazy. But then at the same breath, right, I feel like this is actually the perfect time.
Yeah, man.
So it weirdly worked out
Mm-hmm.
because now we have some amazing things to talk about that are going on in your life, as of very recently.
Yeah.
And when this probably comes out, you'll be gone. We'll talk about why he's gone. And why he'll be gone, but
I'm okay. Don't worry.
He's gonna be
kidnapped.
He'll be here, but not here physically in Massachusetts. So we had to catch him before he leaves, and we'll talk. Well, obviously, one of the things we'll talk about. But anyway, I just found it fascinating that I should have had you on earlier, but it feels like the perfect time.
So much has happened besides the relocation part that is worth talking about. That can really inspire.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
The one thing about me is when I want to come into a podcast and interview, I want to inspire people.
Yeah.
It's my main thing. I don't want to talk about insensitive political shit. I like to inspire people with the music stories and my life.
Oh, we were
story.
gonna talk Trump Biden today. I thought that's what I had on my notes.
Fuck
I
'em
had.
both.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
Everyone, this is Lib, not Lib the lion, just Lib.
That's my IG handle. Don't get it twisted.
Just Lib. Engineer, producer, artist, kind of does it all, man. And I am very happy and excited for this episode. And yeah, man, I mean, it's so cool. Have been getting to know you now for the last year and a half. Obviously, initially it was masterclass, and then it became you recording some sessions out of here, and then us working on intent together for the video. I think that's it, right? But it feels like, those are in-depth things.
Summer school tour.
Oh, of course. And then summer school tour. How did I forget about that? Yeah, you performed at a show as well. So yeah, we've had a good working relationship, and it's been great. And I'm so excited. And one of the things I love about this podcast, and one of the things I really enjoy about getting to know artists and creating relationships and things like that, is the growth, watching growth. I love that shit, man. It's cool to see my own growth, whatever, but I love watching other artists and their growth. And yours in particular has been so great. And even to see to be there for some of the struggle too, you know what I mean? And sort of figuring that out. And it's been a really cool journey. And I'm so proud of you and happy for you where you're at. Cat's out of the bag. This man is going to be relocating to LA. When this podcast comes out, he'll probably already be there.
Yeah.
So we had to catch him before he left. But, we'll obviously talk about that pretty soon in the main lesson. But I first want to start with the objective, where we get to know a little bit about you and your background. And something I found out recently about you that I thought was really unique and interesting, I feel like is almost telling of and almost destined for you to be where you're at.
Here comes the hard question.
It's not even really a question. It's just a fact, and then I have a follow-up question. So I know as a toddler, you would actually, I have it down here. I don't know why I'm trying to remember this. So you would hook up leapfrog books with auxiliary cables and to the surround sound and the TV as a toddler, which is wild that you would do that, because obviously now you're a full-time engineer and artist and all these things. So
I don't even remember that. That's crazy.
Apparently that's the case. So
I believe it.
Have you always been infatuated with sound and audio since you can remember? Clearly it feels that way.
Even visually, if I saw an album art or a CD's art, I would always just put it in the player and just watch it spin. I'm like, damn, that shit looks cool as fuck. Or I've always played with EQs, like to add more bass. I feel like it was lacking bass. I've always just been hands on, and I feel like that's played a part in everything I do now. Like engineering mainly, obviously, because just how music gets polished. But even with music creation, with sound selection and choosing certain moments and details, I feel like I've always like tried to dissect it in my own head. Like I would take literally like an album I love and burn a CD with the track list reordered to understand sequencing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just always been something I like try to toy around with.
Yeah, for sure. And so I thought that was a cool tidbit I thought that was pretty funny to mention. But you're welcome. So, and like I mentioned earlier, engineer, artist, producer, which one kind of came first? Artist.
Well, I mean, intentionally artist, but I feel like the engineering was also the first thing I was intrigued by, like I said, because I was like 2-3 years old looking at stereo. It was just like, oh, this wire goes there. Like I've always tried to understand the routing of sound. But intentionally, I've always wanted to express myself. I grew up pretty quiet. I grew up feeling like not knowing who I am fully and not having that confidence. So writing a lyric or writing a melody always was my way of talking. Now that I'm older and I'm always talking, well, shut the fuck up. It's even more of a proud expression to be artistic because that knowing that I'm confident now adds even more to the artistic expression. It's even more to say. It's even more of a strong way to present it and say it. So I feel like, wanting to be an artist has always been the main passion and desire. And engineering, becoming full-time, was just like me wanting to do what I love to support my artistry. And it's funny because it didn't just become that way in a financial way. It became that way as in like improving my craft as well.
Totally. It makes total sense.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like the idea of taking certain sounds apart and adding to them in whatever appropriate way made the way I write songs even more intricate and like just it gave me more of an understanding what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done.
Totally. And it's I think it's a great thing to at least have that skill, right, to fall back on because you can really be a lot DIY with a lot of it, and you're really cutting off a lot of your cost and your overhead as an artist, right? Because you got to pay for if you like put it this way, even if you're able to produce your own music, write your own music, record your own music, engineer your own music, you still gotta have a bit of a budget for maybe videography or for marketing in some way, shape, or form, right? So there's always going to be a budget. So anyway, you can kind of take that out from you, or maybe it's the opposite, right? Maybe you're good at videography and you can do your own videos, or you can maybe know how to do your own marketing, and maybe then your budget goes into the engineering. So I think it's, as an artist, I love that when I meet artists that want to learn the whole business side of it and also the full creative aspect of it. And so really like to be able to just at least be proficient at some of that, so the way your workload can be efficient. So I feel like, does that kind of resonate with you in a lot of ways?
Yeah, it's become a thing of always being inspired too, because there's songs I would never make that I get to engineer, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm proud to have worked on this song. Like people that can sing way better than me, rap better than me. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like I'm not the kind of person to be like, I want the spotlight all the time. Like when it's my moment, it's my moment. But when it's not, and I'm able to help, and I become proud of that inside, I'm like, yeah, just about to do this shit for it.
Yeah, so someone's like learning different roles.
Yeah, it's knowing what hats to wear and when. If I'm on the stage, that's my moment. But if I'm on the boards, that's your moment. You're in the booth. This is your time to shine. You know what I'm saying? I like to take inspiration from both because I feel like it's a good balance for me. As an on-stage attention whore, but also like somebody who loves to learn and be inspired and inspire others and teach them things too. So
cool. Yeah, I hear you. So when you were younger, clearly you've always been infatuated with sound and music and art, but like when did you decide like I'm gonna really start to pursue music, create my own music, and like maybe take it seriously? Like can you recall a moment that clicked for you, or has it always kind of been ingrained in you in some way?
A little bit of both. So in terms of passion and wanting to do it regardless of profession, it's always been ingrained in me. My uncle and my dad were in bands together before I was even born. My mom used to write a lot. My dad used to write a lot as well. 3 of my aunts are all amazing singers. My cousins are all instrumentalists. So it's just in the family. It's in our blood. But in terms of wanting to do it like as a passion and pursue it, I was 13. Nothing Was the Same by Drake came out, and the song was, I think it was Too Much. He was talking about how like as he grows, his family can kind of have issues and all that. And it's like where I was at, I understood that growth can come at a cost. But I also understood that if you don't grow, the cost is even deadlier. So hearing the way he would rap about like being able to take care of his family and his mom and himself and like be true to himself without trying to be ghetto or trying to like put on a fake facade, like it was very raw. That album was very raw, and I heard the lyricism and I was like, let me try this shit. So then 2014 Forest Hills Drive came out. Oof. And that song, All Through Adolescence, I was 15 when I heard that. Classic. One of the best albums of all time. I was
going to say, it's on the wall here somewhere.
One of my favorite albums, probably my favorite album of all time. It's definitely top 3. All genres.
It's up there for me too.
Bro.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a
good
clearly,
album. It's on the wall.
So. Literally, I have it on my wall too, so yeah. But that song really made me like feel older. I was 15 when I heard it, and I was like, damn, like he's talking about like some really raw, honest shit. So I found the instrumental on YouTube and wrote multiple verses too. I just kept practicing and scrapping it in.
To which instrumental?
All Through Adolescence.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's one of the best songs ever, man. So that was the moment I was like, yeah, I want to like really practice this.
Yeah.
And then I was 15 then. So when I was 16, I got Magix, which is, for those who don't know, it's a music production program. Kind of a dog, kind of not. But basically, you can make beats on it, you can record on it. So I was just making a bunch of beats, trying to replicate my favorite songs and remake them and see what I can do. Then I was 17, got on the mic for the first time. I was awful. I definitely was dedicated to learn how to be better.
We're all bad the first time.
Yeah. And then I was 18 when I touched my first like EQ and compressor to start mixing. And then by the time I was through the rest of my older teenage years and my young 20s, I became, I want to say a master of my craft. I started to understand it, understand my process. And by this time, I've already had experience with instruments like guitar and drums when I was younger, but I kind of let them go because I wanted to learn more in the other way.
You can still play drums though, right?
Absolutely. And guitar. My newer music I'm making, that's not out yet, but it will be soon, has a lot of guitar on it.
Oh, cool.
For me just busting it out, plugging it in.
Yourself?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know theory. I don't know. I know what key should be in what auto-tune and stuff like that. Like I know basic parts, but I don't think of like, oh, I want to do a D minor. Like I just play, and if it sounds good and it feels right to what I'm trying to convey, it comes out that way.
That's dope.
So by the time knowing all that, by the time I became 21, I was like, let me try engineering full time or just part time. Let me just try it because I was struggling and stuff. I just want to do something I enjoy because I had tons of jobs that were miserable. Like, you know what I'm saying? And just where I was at in my life when I was a teenager, it was just tough. So I just picked it up and I got my first gig. And from there, I just kept building. And I'm now at a point where I'm seeing how that simple asset, simple skill of engineering and everything else I can do can really help everything else I do and help me as a person, you know? So it's kind of been like a long-term journey, but I knew when I was 13 I wanted to do it, you know, and I didn't care where it took me. And now I'm in a spot where it's like I'm seeing things manifest from all those years ago. And I'm like, okay, like this is a long game and I'm okay with that. You know, it's funny. I used to like, to be transparent, I used to be very like scared of failure, and I always had like the anxiety of like the next disaster to happen because I've been through so much shit. I feel like I've seen
it come out of you from time to time.
Yeah,
too,
man. I always wanted to just like have it happen, but I realized last year I was like, you know what? At the time I was 23 years old, I was like, I wanted to make it sooner than this, but I'm not supposed to. You're not supposed
still
to.
Fucking young, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I'm still young. You're young, and I'm
even if you aren't young,
me.
you can still look at Killer Mike. He got his first Grammy and he got 3 in the same night. Like, bro, it's anything is possible as long as you're true.
He's in his 40s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
bro. You know, and
or at least 39, like something.
I think he's. I could be mistaken.
Either way, that's a lot older than 23. Like, and look what he just did. So, excuse me, I was like,
go for it.
I don't want to be all parched and talking.
No, you're good.
Not like. When I finally admitted to myself, like, you know what, this is going to be a long journey, but I'm going to trust it. I'm not going to compare myself to anybody. I'm not going to try to minimize the time I have to take. I'm going to just do it. And that's when blessings started to happen. You know, I'm a big believer in, you know, higher powers and karma and being true to what you're supposed to be true to. And when you figure that out, things just kind of fall in your lap without you even expecting it or knowing it's going to happen or even planning it. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question in the shorter way, like I've always known that I wanted to do it. But it wasn't always like a simple decision. Like sometimes I thought like, damn, I want to do this. Like, do I want to like sacrifice, you know, the extra stability I could have for this? The answer is yes, because it's going to bring me even more than just that, you know?
Well, to answer that, I want to quickly say one thing. Another thing you had been talking about that I thought you said a lot of great things in that, by the way.
Thank you.
You're talking to somebody that did that and is now trying to reverse that. I chose stability over the dream. When I was in high school, I don't know if I've even said this on air necessarily, but I will now that we're in the context of it. I love, as you know, we clearly worked on the Intent music video together, as mentioned earlier. I helped, direct it, and we both storyboarded it, of course.
Go watch that now. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. Well, not now, actually. After the episode, don't leave now.
Sorry, no interjections here.
Don't get them off the episode. There's so much great stuff left. After, it's gonna be linked in the description. Watch it after. But so anyway, when I was in high school, though, I became really infatuated with video and videography. And I loved it. I was pretty good at it. I can say confidently that I was definitely one of the better, by the time my senior year hit, I was one of the better videographers, editors in my class. There was one dude by the name of Anthony Polino. Shout out to Anthony Polino. He's worked on commercials for Adidas and Gatorade and probably a bunch of other places. Anthony Polino is a Danvers guy.
Is he related to Jake Polino?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while.
He's known for his sneakers. I think, if I get the name right. But
anyway, well, familiar. He was we all knew him. Yo, this guy's fucking. He was on another level. He was really, really good. But I felt like I could do some things he could do well, and I feel like I did a lot of things well. So I definitely felt like I had a passion for it. I wanted to do it, and it was interesting how just my situation at the time, based on where my situation with my family was in at the moment. I chose stability, and the reason for that was we had a school come in and talk to us. I think it was called I don't even know if there's still a school anymore, but I think it was the New England Arts or something like that. Mm-hmm. They focused a lot on videography, photography, stuff like that. And one of the students in my class asked a question of salary and things like that. And he would explain that, year to year, it's going to change. It depends on it's all freelance. It depends on most of the time or contract based. So it depends on what you get for, for a gig. So for example, you could end up with 1 year, you could make 200 grand and the next you could make 20. Mm-hmm. You just don't know. Right. And for me, hearing that was the deterrent at 17, 18 years old, based on just where my life was at the moment. I wanted something a lot more stable. And here I am, roughly 10, 12 years later, went down the path, and I'm it was all accidental in a way. I didn't even intentionally was I'm going to do podcasting and videography and all these other things. It just kind of happened naturally, and I just been leaning more and more into it, and now it's become a point of it found me again. I was destined to fucking do this shit.
That's the word, destined.
Yeah.
Destiny, man. That's what I was going to say.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean with you. That's why I want to bring back the toddler piece. That when I heard that, I was like,
duh.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Right? This just all makes sense.
Hello,
then.
This is why he's doing what he's doing. Right.
No one very rarely are you 2 years old obsessed with wires. No one's in the sense of in that way of what are these things doing? It's more most toddlers looking at going, can I put that in my mouth? It's you're no, how does all this shit work? That just all makes sense to me. So from that perspective, I love that advice because it's true. It's they say, don't, only follow your hobbies or your passions to an extent. You got to make money, but it's you can be creative and figure out how the hell you're going to make money. And again, it can be scary. It totally is. 100%.
Either way, it's scary. And the thing is about it, you got to find your balance. Do you want to stick to stability the rest of your life and then have an under-promising retirement? Not to be like that, but under-promising to you. If you have a passion that you know you could get, it's would you rather have it be harder now while you're younger and have more of that drive, or let a few decades go by and be damn. One thing I'm not going to do on my deathbed is be damn, fuck that. I want to live my life. You know what I'm saying?
You don't want to regret a thing,
exactly.
Bro.
That's my main goal in life is to, when it's time for me to leave this earth one day, to not regret a thing. I want it to be that made sense to do.
Even if you fail, right? At least you try, right? That's why I always said with all the things I do, it's I would rather fall flat on my face and give it a go, an honest effort, than be damn, I should have taken that opportunity. I should have done that, right?
And if you fall flat in your face, do you stay there and get back up?
100%. Exactly. So I just appreciate all of that from what you said. So that was I took that away from that as well. There was something else you said too that I wanted to respond to that I thought was great, but I don't remember now.
I'd be yapping.
No, you said a lot of good things. So and then I got my side. But either way, I think what you said was extremely valuable, and it just makes sense, right? From a practicality standpoint, it's why not go for it? Oh, I remember now. You had said you wish it would happen, or you thought it would happen for you earlier. But I think one of the things that and I've found this self personally too. It's like, what good would that be? To like, hey, I want to be like a full-fledged artist, and then 6 months later it all comes to fruition. Like, you don't even really appreciate it as much at that point. And then even that, not even on the appreciation side, but are you going to be ready for that at that point?
Bingo.
Maybe it's not that it wasn't going to happen for you, that you weren't eventually going to make the leap, make the jump, and like go make this all these things happen. You weren't ready at 21. You weren't ready at 20. You weren't ready at 19. You weren't even ready at 22 or 23, right? It's you weren't ready. And maybe same for me. Like maybe in my 20s, I wasn't ready to take the leap for whatever reason, right? So it's like you need to understand that, like, yeah, everybody's running their own race, and we're all on our different. And I think the part of the problem with this social media age is we are in a lot of ways all not competing with each other necessarily, but we are comparing ourselves, even subconsciously, if we're not even thinking about it. So I think
it's the way it's set up.
100%, right? It's a setup in a fashion where like we want to show the best versions of ourselves, and like I don't think there's anything inherently necessarily wrong with that, but it needs to be put in its proper context. That just because X person is killing it and it only took them a year, okay, well maybe it's going to take me 5. Or
that's okay.
That's fine, right? Like the Killer Mike situation is fantastic. Like he was making songs with Outkast and things like that 20 years ago, and now he's here finally making the.
He had his moment. That album was his moment, and people recognizing it.
Right. So it might not have been his time.
Everyone's like, "Oh, no, the fuck he is." That doesn't matter, bro. If the music is good, the music is good. That's it.
And there's how many artists, right, get that really quick trajectory, and then they all crash and burn, bro.
In less than a year, maybe even half a year.
Because you don't have
Look at the SoundCloud era, bro. Look at the SoundCloud era. There was so many artists that had potential, started waves, and only a few of them lasted.
Exactly.
Not discrediting that wave, but a lot of those kids made it fast because of a wave that they were either writing or starting, but it wasn't from a place of like a long journey. That's the thing. When you live a longer life before that moment, I feel like you not only know more, but you can tell more. Yes. You can convey more. Me at 22 years old versus now, the album I would make back then versus now would not even touch what I can make now because of what I've lived through and because of what I learned as a person and musically. You know what I'm saying?
And think about where you'll be at 20.
Experience is everything.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Experience is absolutely everything. No, but think about where you even be at 26 or at 28 or at 30, right? It's like that you have to see where that can like potentially lead. It's so I'm glad that you realized that. Yeah, like I do want this, and it's because you're passionate about it. It's not because like you want it all in this very moment.
Right.
It's just you see it, you're excited about it, you want it, but again, there's that patience factor that needs to be put into play, that maturity,
Absolutely.
and that it comes with maturity and just understanding that. So I'm glad you came to that realization. Dope ass fucking conversation, bro. This is great. I want to get
Vito. Come on.
I think it wouldn't be.
Living Mike. Come on.
Yeah. This is why we waited so long, people. So main lesson, right? So this is where we talk about what you got going on right now. You got plenty going on right now I want to talk about. But one of the things that you talked about that I want to touch upon that I had questions about was Enginears, right? So you've really grown massively on Enginears as an engineer, right? And that's a platform Mixed by Ali created, right? It's fantastic.
Shout out to Ali. So down to earth, man.
Yeah, you met him recently, right?
Great guy, yeah.
Before I ask my other question, how was that, meeting him?
So I kind of was ballsy about it. I was just like, hey, like, did you have this big of a thing before? He was like, oh, no, last year it was a lot smaller. And I was like, oh, word. It was just casual. And I shook his hand and everything, and he guided me around, looked out for me, took a picture with him. He was cool as fuck. You know what I'm saying? He was one of the most humble people I met there, and he was the CEO of that whole company, like the lounge, the booth. I was on him, bro. You know. Yeah,
because you flew out to LA to like, was it like a convention, right? Basically.
Yeah. So it was the Anaheim Convention Center. It was NAMM. So for those who don't know what NAMM is the National Association. I'm hoping I'm getting this wrong. Of music merchants, and basically that's where a lot of music merchants showcase their next products or their next innovations, whether it's something to buy, or just something to look into and study or be part of, like in a community way. I believe there was 40,000 people this year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't even know the Engineers was going to be there this year, but of course they were going to be because it's NAMM. But they didn't announce it until like weeks before it happened. So by that time, my flight was already booked because I wanted to take a chance and say fuck it. But yeah, at some point, literally, I was chilling at the Engineers booth, and I shit you not, Mike, bro. I was like in shock. Steven Tyler himself walked right in front of me, and I was like looking at him. I couldn't see his face because his hair was there, and I think it was his wife next to him. And I was just like, what the fuck? And my boy was like, bro, was that Steven Tyler? I was like, it was, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh shit. So it's one of those places where you go and it's like, you never know who you're gonna run into.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Ali just pulled up like casually, and everyone was like, oh my
Right,
god,
right.
like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, cool dude, man. I'm proud of. I've watched his journey for years too. I don't even know him personally like that, but I'm proud of him. Like watching what he's, come up with. Like Enginears is, this is not promo. This is genuinely me talking about it. Like, it's changed my life, and I think that every engineer should be on there because it makes things a lot easier and it makes things a lot more fair. So it wasn't. I want to say it was easy to grow in there, but it kind of was the thing where like, it's one of those plants you water in the garden that grows quick and it lasts. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a up down. Like it's up. Okay, we're here now.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where if you nurture it, it nurtures you back. And I'm glad that he and his team built it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you've done like hundreds of mixes now on there, right?
Yeah,
What are you
man.
at right now? as it stands?
176 are completed mixes and masters.
That's sick.
Thank you, man.
My question I love that you were able to have that experience, and especially with you move. I know the cat's out of the bag, moving to LA. Obviously,
Yeah.
we mentioned that, but we'll get to that soon. I want to talk about that in depth. But one thing I had wanted to ask you on the Engineers side of things. So what have you? Because you mentioned earlier, and I actually wrote this down, so I'm glad you brought it up. Mixing and mastering and engineering other genres you might not have been able to get your hands on had you not either gone full-fledged with the engineering and then been on the Engineers platform, right? So I'm curious, from the standpoint of your own artistry, like if at all, has engineering different genres and having your hands on different styles, has that impacted your own artistry, if at all or at all?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Expand, please.
Shout out to Julian. So Julian
We
knows
love
that I have
Julian
a
out here.
background in instrumentation, and he fuses genres himself. So his song "I Don't Want to Know" on his album "Beneath My Wings," go play that after this as well. Really good song, really good album. I mixed and mastered the whole thing. No, mastered the whole thing, mixed most of it. Anyways, shout out to Nick for mixing it as well. He inspired me to bring up my guitar for that song, and I was like, okay, let me just try it. And he wanted like a da-na-na-na simple line, and I was like, fuck that simple shit. I did harmonies, I did pull-ups. I was like, fuck that, and I rediscovered it. So simply having somebody I'm engineering for suggest that helped me, but also being booked for like random pop punk songs or like folk and singer-songwriter genre songs or even EDM and dance. I'm like, okay. Me, like, growing up loving all genres, like, I've loved everything. I love classic rock. I love metal. I love gospel. I love hip-hop and R&B. I love all of it. To me, good music is good music, period. Pop music, too. I used to love, like, Bruno Mars and Katy Perry at the school dances in elementary school. I used to, I'm saying, get down to that. So I understand what each genre needs. And having had experience with that and having loyal clients that don't make music anywhere near the kind of music I make inspires me, because I get to get that validation from them, like, hey, this is what this should be, and then some. Like, people always tell me, like, you take it to a level I never heard my music at before. And I'm always grateful for that. So it isn't like I take from that or take from them for my music. It's just inspiring, and it opens my mind. So it's kind of like exercise mentally. Like, it opens your mind to think in new ways you haven't before when you expand your palette. So now I'm making songs that I never imagined making at this age. And it's like, it's been a thing recently where I'm like, damn, like, my first big album to be like this way and that way, and I'm already getting to that sound before I thought I could even do it. So, engineering has been like a really good asset to not just, like I said, finances, but to the music, man. Like, the music I'm making now, like, my vault right now sounds ridiculous. Like, the music I have out now is really good. I'm really proud of it. However, the vault, bro, and this is not me being biased.
I've heard some of the stuff in the vault. Maybe not even what's updated.
Even the updated stuff. Oh my god, I can't wait for the world to hear it one day, man. It end up being a project, singles, 2 projects. I don't know, but it's gonna come out, and you guys are gonna know when that one's out. Like, the whole selection I have now is ridiculous, man. There's metal in there, and it works to Lib's style. Like, I figured it out somehow. There's grunge. There's, of course, R&B, hip hop. There's a mix of everything. It's gonna be beautiful, when it gets
fantastic
out there. So
yeah, no, again, that's why I assumed that there would have been some type of benefit, right, outside of the financial, from it, having your hands on different styles.
Honestly,
of music, 'cause naturally, right, you're listening to more, you're getting inspired more. It just makes sense.
I'm grateful for the financial part, but I'm a lot more fulfilled by the artistry part, because that's the main goal anyways. That's been the root of this whole journey, is me wanting to convey myself artistically. So yeah,
It's a great way to put it.
thank you.
Grateful for the financial but fulfilled.
Yeah, because I mean,
I love
my whole thing on money is like, yes, you need it. Yes, it's better to have more. Yes, you get to enjoy life more when you have more. But it's infinite. You know, you're always gonna make it. You're always gonna lose it. It's the way it is. Even rich people got to pay hundreds of millions in taxes. You know what I'm saying? So either way, you're not gonna keep it all. But when you have something you can call like a proud creation, nobody can take that shit from you. Nobody. You wrote that. You composed that. You made that. It's your baby. Like, you know, it can't be taken from you.
It's a very good point. And speaking of engineering as well, it's opened some great doors for you and made some great connections. In particular, an artist by the name of Jev.
Shout out to Jev, man.
Which is so funny because I didn't realize you. So there's this song called Black Samurai that you mixed, right?
Mixed and
mastered. That I was bumping for a while before I think we even really knew each other super well. And I don't remember how exactly it happened. I don't know if you had reposted something of his, or I don't know what 100% what the situation was.
I remember. So
you do? Okay, go ahead.
It's when you guys first brought me in to be a part of AOA as an independent engineer here, and Zafir was playing my playlist, and the top song was Black Samurai.
That's what it was.
It was in the A room too, and you were like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah."
I go, "You engineered this shit?"
I was like, "How the fuck do you know Jev?" He was like, "Da, da, da, I knew him from before." I was like, "Oh, damn.
Yeah, bro." So years ago, Jev knows this because this is when we were really, I mean, we're still, you know, I would call us a boutique, but when we were much smaller, we didn't have as much of a reach. I don't know, maybe we had 1,000 followers at the time. I can't even quite remember what the number was, but this was years ago, maybe even pre-pandemic, honestly. And I found Jev, or maybe he found me. I can't quite remember the situation, but we found each other through just social media, and I started just putting his songs on like our playlist. That probably had like 20 followers at the time. Like it's not what it is today. And you know, we would go back and forth in DMs. Like it wasn't like, you know, super in depth, but he would be like, "Oh, like I appreciate it," and he would like send me more music and blah 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 blah. And so yeah, I just became a fan of his because he makes such great music, and I just was blown away because The Color Gray, right? That's the name of the project.
Yeah.
So good. I've been listening to that for months, and then I was like, wait. I have the engineer that engineered my favorite song on that project right with me.
What? Come on, that's destiny right
Isn't
there.
Isn't that crazy, bro? So it's just like that shit was wild to me. And now you have this song called "If You Want It," right? With Julian Mendoza, right, doing some background vocals, and Amaria. Amaria. I'm sorry, Amaria.
It happens all the time. It's all good.
Amaria. My apologies, Amaria. And Amaria, your boo thang. And which is super dope, right? So and this song has just taken off. It's at the time we're sitting here, I think it's got like 35K on Spotify. It's probably more by the time this episode comes out, I would imagine. So tell me about obviously this record, but also like the manifestation of it. You have an artist who really in a very short order just popped all the way off. And rightfully so. He deserves it.
Absolutely.
You built that relationship with him before he even popped off, right? And even me too. Like I remember going back to The Color Gray. I'm like, yo, his follower count and his streams are like.
It shocked me too. I think Where's the Confetti was at like 9 mil. I was like, what the fuck?
So you have,
crazy.
So you got someone like him, and I don't know him super well personally, but it seems like a really humble guy. And then you got Julian Mendoza, one of your best friends, and you got your girlfriend. On this song, so
better posse to have, bro. Like,
what is? Yeah, I mean, I guess it sounds like a silly question to ask at this point, but like, what does this record mean to you? Like, and does it mean more that it's like doing what it's done?
That song is a manifestation, man, in multiple ways. Like that beat, I actually had on sale for a while, and one of my clients was working with it, but he wasn't finishing it, so I was like, "Yo, bro, like, do you mind if I take this back?" He's like, "Yeah, I wasn't finishing nothing too." He's like, "You got something planned for it?" I was like, "Yeah, I got something big planned for this." So I pressed record. I started to record myself to it, freestyling. I didn't like write. I usually don't write. I kind of just do punching freestyles and then perfect the takes to make it all sound good together.
I've seen your process.
Yeah,
I've watched your work.
But like that just kind of happened naturally, and if you want it, I was just like, okay, this song could be like a hustler's anthem. I feel like a lot of songs that are about getting money or like motivating yourself can sound a little too intense sometimes, which I love those songs. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like I wanted something more chill, more relaxing that you can play on the way to work without being like, I gotta do this. Like, you just gotta like, okay, it's gonna be a good day, make some money, I'll be fine, go home, enjoy myself, type of vibe. So I was like, I need somebody who's lyrical that has a more vintage voice than me. And Jev was the best person I knew. And he already had a huge fan base, so people were gonna love that anyways. And I already knew him before he blew up, so I was like, all right, yo, like, let me know what you think of this. And he's like, bro, I'm getting on this. So I showed Julian, and he was like, I feel like it needs a woman on it, like doing backgrounds. And I was like, I know the perfect person. And this is when me and Amari weren't even together yet. But I was like seeing how consistent she was, and she was putting out music back to back, and I was like, yo, like, you be on your dark R&B shit, and as dope as how I love it. I engineer all her stuff. But I wanted to hear her do something different. And I was like, this song needs some branding and needs some feminine energy on it, so I'll give it a shot. And this woman, like, put stacks of harmonies and echoed me in Jeb's lines, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is what the song needed. And then I felt like that was complete the way it was. And I forget whose decision it was, but me or Julian, either one of us was like, hey, how about you get on it? And he added like a little bum, boom, boom to the outro, and it gave it even more percussion and more background vocals for the hook. And then I had a way of like putting the outro that Amaria did above Julian's voice by having him kind of like cushion it all, and it just came together perfectly. And that's why engineering helped my artistry, because I understood different voices like that. And yeah, I sat on the song for a while. I think it was done being recorded all the way in like maybe June of last year, but I had other plans with Intent, Blessed, like I was trying different things, kind of just throwing things to the wall and see what stuck. But this song came out at the right time, because this song actually was inspired by me taking risks and going to places like New York with Julian, LA on my own, like just seeing what's out there beyond the borders that I already know. And that song is about really evaluating your own hustle, your own drive. How far would you go for it? That's what the whole song is about. It's a question. It isn't really an answer. I want people to hear that song and question their own passion. Like, not in a way where it validates or invalidates it, but measures it. It's like, are you really going to get this because you want to? How bad do you want it? So that song is kind of like in a way, kind of therapizing for me, but anybody else who needs that like extra push, but with love. You know what I'm saying? It isn't like a, what the fuck you doing, go? It's more like a, yo, you good? Like, ask yourself that, you know? So that song came together well. And now that I'm relocating, it's a testament to how far I would go for it. So it's just, it all came together full circle. And Jeb's people are finding me. I got people that are like 14, 15 years old just being like, hey, like, you really inspired me, man. I want to start a band one day. I'm like, what? Fucking do it. Like, how far would you go for it at that young ass age? Come on, man. Lock in.
That is so dope. I hope you don't mind that I'm about to say this, but I don't think it's gonna be too bad. But it was really interesting when we were doing Intent, right? And we hit a bit of a we had a feeling that was gonna be a song that was gonna be big for you, the video, all that stuff, and I don't think it manifested quite from a numbers standpoint what we had hoped it would have. Right. But I'll never forget this, where we were trying to do the marketing for it, and we got unfortunately stifled because of the quote unquote content that was in the video.
It's a fake knife and fake blood, by the way. This isn't The Walking Dead, it's a music video.
Right. So the ads would not run on it, and I remember you being very frustrated. and it's just so it's in, you know, obviously being frustrated, and I felt you. I did. And then it's so great now that you did get a song that like did the numbers that deserved it. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, not that always matters,
right?
But I'm so glad that I'm almost glad that you had that moment with Intent, because I'm sure it makes, if you want, it feel so much sweeter.
You know why it does, besides the numbers and, you know, recognition? Because I already know numbers I'm going to aim for in the future and get are not going to be, they're going to be much bigger than that. But that's a good moment to have on the way up. Like I said, patience, you know. But my mom told me something one day. She's like, I feel like a lot of the music you make is angry. And the reason why it can be is because I do get angry, but I don't like to take it out in real life. Like, if I have to defend myself, whatever, music, you know what I'm saying? The music is my therapy. So songs like Intent are like I wrote that song while I was dealing with somebody, and I was like, okay, like, I see you're a snake, but we both know that. I'm going to make some great shit out of it. I'm not going to waste my energy fighting with you. I'm going to make a great song out of it. So that's how I always, like, see my life. Like, I take it out on the music. But my mom was like, I feel like your best music is going to be of love. She's like, I love your angry stuff. It's fun. But I feel like when you get vulnerable and look at yourself in a more rational standpoint in your own emotions, it can come out a lot clearer and be more true. And I was like, you're right. So that's why if you want it, seriously, and that's why if you want it, like, I think that's why it's doing so well. Even though Jev, like, is a big reason why it's doing so well, because his fan base is massive. people are sticking with the song. You know, I'm getting DMs about how good it is, how inspiring it is, and people live that hear it are like, "Oh my, like what?" Like they're always blown away, and it's not a song that's supposed to take you by storm and like blow your mind, but it's going to comfort you and motivate you, and that's the goal of that song. So for me to have a song that positive, and probably the most positive song I ever wrote so far, that's not true. Out of the ones that are out, for sure though, to have that be the biggest one so far is definitely
It's fire.
So something I'm so proud of, you know.
As you should be.
Thank you.
Mind if we play a clip of it for the people so that way they can hear it? Okay, all right.
Always something I'll never say no to.
We are going to take a quick break. This is If You Want It by Lib, featuring Jev, Julian Mendoza, and Amaria.
Amaria Iman.
Amaria. I'm going to get it right. Amaria. One more time. It is If You Want It by Lib, Jev, Amaria, and Julian Mendoza. Here's a quick sneak peek, or not sneak peek, but a clip for you people. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
If you wanna make love to me, if you want to make me,
Look at me. Like, there's times I went broke for it, sacrificed some goals for it, ran into the wall for it, no regrets, I'm all for it. No chains or watches, I don't fake ball for it. Ain't never sold my soul, I wouldn't pay that cost for it. I got a blue badge, but I don't fuck with law enforcement. And I appreciate the love, but don't you ever force it. I still got much on my plate, and I'm talking full courses. God, body, do not try me, I'm who they worship. Yeah, I guess it's time for me to eat. I got a fork, I got a feast and a thesis. Racing against time, you gon' beat it with time that's needed. Anytime you rush it, you gon' find yourself defeated on dogs. Any wall I ran into, I found a loophole in it. I'm about to kill this fucking game, got it, my newest witness. I got some Judases and Lucifers I knew too. In my head I got loose screws, you a dreamer, you do too. Do you truly know how much it takes? If you want it, tell me how far would you go for it? If you want it, how far would you go for it? Far would you go for it? Don't you let them see you bend, see you break. If you want it, tell me how far would you go for it? If you want it, how far would you go for it? Far would you go for it?
Glock 47 and I'm shooting at the stars. Translation, there's a bloodbath at the Oscars. Glock 47 with a switch, still shooting at the stars till I reach that constellation. Doing drive-bys on a salsa, motherfucking monster. Bitch, I'm half man, have these rappers like their father. How bad do a nigga want it? I kill for it, go toe-to-toe for it with them 12 feet giants.
And that was If You Want It, Lib's new song that's going just popping off right now, like we just said. So if you make sure you add it to whatever playlist or streaming platform that you get your music from, it's out on all platforms, linked in the description, and make sure you check it out. We got to do a pop quiz. I think you know it's time. You knew this was coming.
Dun, dun, dun.
So if you're a fan of Lib and you haven't, for whatever reason, come on to us or watch an episode of ours, Pop Quiz is a segment where we ask our guests rapid-fire questions. Some have to do with music. Some have absolutely nothing to do with music whatsoever. It's just stuff that I found out about you. It's never anything embarrassing, but it's, you know, it's some fun stuff.
It's Nardwar.
It's Nardwar.
It's the Nardwar of the
It's
North Shore
Nardwar
right here.
Sean Evans inspired. Okay.
Sean Evans too. Oh,
Hell yeah,
shit.
bro.
Shout out to Sean Evans.
Hot Ones
I love
is my
Hot Ones.
jam.
That's my shit.
Sean, if you're listening, Sean, if you ever want to come on the show, I know you don't make music, but you're more than welcome to. That's like my goal. I want to do Hot Ones. I'm gonna manifest that right now. I want to do Hot Ones.
I know for a fact. See, I can tolerate stuff. But to get through every single wing, I probably couldn't. But I will for that show. Absolutely.
I would do it too. I'm not saying I like spice. I like spicy food. I don't think I want to eat the bomb. I'm not kidding. You know what I mean? I don't want to eat the bomb, but I'll do it. I would do it 1,000,000%. No way. I mean,
absolutely.
where I'm at, I don't think Sean wants to have me on. But hey, maybe someday. Maybe someday, Sean.
He might hear
never
if
say
you
never.
want it soon.
Never say never. One of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing I want to ask you. So I love this, by the way. I love that this manifested. This happened too. You created the jingle for It's Lit podcast. Their new. So tell me about how that.
It's lit.
So tell me about how that happened and what your reaction was once you got the request, or if maybe you requested. I don't know exactly how it went. But
Shout out to the guys at It's Lit Boston.
Yeah. By the way, big shout out to the It's Lit guys. Love you guys.
I was promoting Bless on Instagram multiple times, like how I mixed it, how I made it. I was just pushing the hell out of it. Excuse me. And they loved it. They were like, "Hey, like you have some catchy shit. We want to have like a jingle made by you." I was like, "Bet." So I made one from scratch, and I feel like it was good, but it wasn't the energy they were wanting. They wanted like a more trap heavy like kind of thing. So he had a beat to send me. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this new beat. And I just like kept it's lit in my like it's lit over and over. And I forgot the words because it's been so long. But that was pretty much done like instantly. And then from there, I got on their show. I hope the episode is out by this point.
It is. It's out.
On Spotify it is, but I don't know if it's on YouTube yet.
Oh.
But either way, it's out. Listen to that. And yeah, you can literally just scroll on their page and like see the three of them posted up with the logo and hear my voice. It's late. You gonna know it's me because I'm loud as fuck. But like, yeah, that's how that came about. It's pretty simple. It's pretty seamless. Shout out to the guys too. I had a great conversation.
Yeah, they're
At
great.
their spot too. I'm saying.
Likewise,
They're cool as
no,
fuck.
they had me
Shout
on
out to Sam
too.
and Cooper.
Yeah, seriously, they had me on too. They were really, really good dudes. So much love to the It's Lit Boston guys. All right, now we're gonna have some fun here. So if Kendrick, Drake, and SZA were your favorite artists, which that's what I've heard through the grapevine, those are
They're
probably
up
about your
there, yeah.
three.
I love all three of them. Yeah.
But yeah, who would be the fourth artist you'd put on your Mount Rushmore of favorites, or would you take one of those off and replace them with somebody else?
Well, if I want to overthink it, so I'll keep those three. And it's just hip hop and R&B centric.
Sure. Yeah.
J. Cole.
Cole's got to be on
J.
there.
Cole. Hell yeah.
I hear you. All right.
Yeah.
Now that begs another question. I didn't put this on, but in the three-headed monster debate, Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, what's the order?
Like best to
Yeah,
not
just
worse,
obvious-
but
yeah, not worse, but like best. Or
are we
just
talking
preference.
like my preference? Okay,
just preference?
Kendrick,
Okay.
J. Cole, Drake. Yeah,
I would probably. I would. It's tough. J. Cole and Kendrick is a tough one. I might swap them, but I wouldn't just. Drake's three for me, no question.
for
about
me
it.
it's Kendrick's albums, man. The way he
His albums are really
sequences,
good,
it's
yeah.
fucking insane.
All right, I'm with you. I think Kendrick, Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake's a good order there. All right, you briefly mentioned it earlier. I'm a little pissed off that you did, but it's fine because I missed one of my moments. I still got plenty though. I should.
What's the matter, you, Mike?
What's the best? You're a huge Walking Dead fan. What's the best season of Walking Dead in your opinion?
Definitely not 7, 8, or 9. What the fuck was that? Damn, that's a good ass question. 5.
Was it 5?
Season 5. That was the most like realistic one. Not realistic, but like it was the most gripping one. That shit was unpredictable. It was a good story. It wasn't the same story the whole season. It switched, and it was at the same time concise. There wasn't no weird ass cheap main character deaths that were just meant to be scary. Like it was all real and hit hard. So that season was dope. Rick Grimes season 5, bro. I would not fuck with him. I would run. Like with that big ass beard. If you see that, he's a murderer, bro. He's killing people.
Clearly, you don't have commitment issues because I. Right, Amaria? Did I get it right that time?
Absolutely.
Hey, got it third time's a charm, Amaria. Yeah, I've never watched it, and at this point, I can't because there's like 6,000 seasons. It's like I can't commit.
Yeah, I mean seasons 1 through 5 are definitely worth sticking for. 6 is good, but 6 had a really dumb moment where somebody like died but didn't die. Just to die in season 1. Season 7 of episode 1. It was dumb as fuck. But seasons 1 through 5, try at least.
All right,
5 is incredible.
Maybe I'll give it a shot.
5 is
I'll give it a
incredible.
shot. All right. In your opinion, what is the allure of peanut butter on a spoon, and are you a crunchy or smooth guy?
The allure is fucking hilarious. Literally,
There's an
it's
allure
just-
to the peanut butter on the
It's just
spoon.
an easy ass snack to grab, bro. It's just like smooth because
Smooth,
I feel like
okay.
crunchy is just it's too much work. It's like the whole point of the
Get
snack.
stuck in your teeth and shit.
Like in a sandwich, it's cool, but like if you just want to put it on a spoon, it's like boom, boom. Like you don't gotta like chew more. Like it's easy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, it's
All
my
right.
little
Smooth.
late night. If I'm a little hungry, fuck it, it's right there.
It's satiating enough, that's for sure.
I literally
Most underrated flavor of cheesecake. I know you're a cheesecake fan.
underrated flavor of cheesecake. Is there like 55 of them shits? Damn.
Yeah. So no, I wouldn't consider your bet. Well, you could also say your favorite too. I want to keep it in your
Most
favorite.
underrated.
Most underrated.
I think I had one that was like sea salt caramel turtle, some crazy shit from Cheesecake Factory. I don't hear the one talk about a lot. That was really good.
Mine's the Cinnabon one.
I haven't had that one yet.
Ooh, it's good.
Really?
Do you like cinnamon rolls?
Yeah, I was afraid to try that because I feel like it'd be too sweet, but it's like
not.
It's
Well,
really.
It is, but like I don't know. I like.
Is it a
I
good
think
like
it's
cream
underrated.
cheese cinnamon balance?
Oh, so
okay, I'll try
for
it.
sure.
I'll
for sure.
try it.
Try it. You gotta try it at least
yeah,
once.
yeah. Also, I think it was like a raspberry white truffle something. It was so good.
Yeah, that one's
There's
not bad either.
There's a few untalked about ones that should be talked about more for sure.
Okay, those are two good answers.
Yeah.
Two good answers. Carissa and I. So, I guess technically our second date, but one of our we ended up hanging out for a whole weekend. Our first date turned into this whole weekend thing. So clearly now it's nice that we're
That was
still
also
together.
destiny, right there.
Exactly. We hung out on a Friday with a group of friends, and then we're like, "Hey, we should hang out tomorrow." And then like Sunday, "Oh, we should hang out again." But anyway, we went to Cheesecake Factory for like our first, I guess, official one-on-one date. So our tradition on our anniversary is we always get a piece, even if we're not
Dude,
hungry
that's
for it.
fucking awesome.
We buy a piece of cheesecake and like at least maybe have it the next day. But
Yeah.
like it's like a thing. We have to do it. So we always try to find it. Maybe
You
get a different.
can't
thing.
go to that spot without grabbing cheesecake, bro.
Gotta do it,
you
man.
You can't leave without
gotta
cheesecake.
do it. Even if
It's
like
in
you're
the
not
name. What the fuck?
even if you're not hungry for it, you gotta
Literally.
have it. You gotta grab it.
Throw it in the fridge for the next day, bro.
No kidding.
I'm saying.
All right. As a very early reader, I know you used to like to read when you were a kid. What was your favorite childhood book?
Jurassic Park.
Ooh, okay.
It's really a childhood book, but that shit was scary as hell. Like, I watched the movie when I was like 10 or 11. I fell in love with it, and I would use my like slower hours in school to read the novel. And I was like, a T-Rex can swim. What? Like, it was fucking. It felt like a hard. If they made the movie, great movie by the way, I'm not discrediting it, but if they like made it true to that novel, it would have been scary as hell. Great book.
Okay, I like it. I know you have a deep love for cats and dogs.
Absolutely.
What's the best dog breed of dog in your opinion? And then what's one thing about cats that people don't appreciate enough?
Best breed of dogs. I can't really pick one because I feel like all dogs are great. I feel like sometimes the breed can play a part in how the dog is. Like, for example, pit bulls were conditioned to fighting, so they can be aggressive. But I also feel like the way the dog is raised as a puppy
I love
into
pits.
adulthood. I love pits. Still, I'm not saying they're wrong. I think they're really sweet if they're trained right. But some people can misuse them,
Right.
you know, and then they can be aggressive. But I feel like any breed can be a great dog if it's raised in not conditioned actually, raised well, not conditioned, and like loved, you know what I'm saying,
Sure.
and given a good home, because nobody wants to get bit by a pit bull, bro.
Or yeah, any dog for that matter.
Literally. Cats, people don't appreciate how funny cats are. They're fucking
Agreed.
hilarious.
They are
Like, why do
hilarious.
cats just stare at the wall and then jump and run? Like, what? It's funny as hell. They're very sweet. They're very like, I think that purring actually decreases blood pressure. That's what I've actually heard. I love.
Yeah, it's like a
cats are very
scientific
calming to
thing.
me,
Yeah.
You know.
I grew up with cats.
Yeah.
We didn't have dogs. We had cats though. The cat that we currently have at I don't have it at my apartment, but it's at my family's house. Pearl. She's just like the sweetest thing ever. Like seriously, like cats get such a bad rep. I know they can be like independent and stuff like that. They get reps for being like a little like bitchy and kind of like get out of my face.
Selectively affectionate.
Yeah, bro. She's like she like feeds off of like love. Like if she could like live off love instead of food, like she would. You know what I mean?
That's so cute.
She really is. But she was a rescue too, so I think that maybe plays a part in it as
for
well.
sure.
But all right, got to know your hair care routine. It's
Bro.
you knew it was coming.
It's literally like I put effort into my music, but this fucking head right here, it taxes my time. I love it though. Basically, detangling always with water is necessary. With conditioner too. Don't always shampoo your hair. It dries it out. It makes your scalp really itchy. Don't do that. Leave-in conditioner, sometimes mousse. Oil every here and there if it's not too much. And I'm not the biggest fan of anti-frizz solutions. I feel like it's too chemically for my kind of hair. I feel like some hair can be good for it, like, but mine is like in between curly and wavy, but mostly curly. But like it switches. This thing has a mind of its own. But yeah, definitely a lot of high maintenance work and a lot of money. But yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
And
Sulfate free, by the way. Don't use sulfate for your girls. Don't do that.
Okay.
That's suicide.
My final and favorite question in pop quiz, I saved for last. Is there anything that makes you more angry than Massachusetts drivers?
I gotta think about that. I've driven in multiple states, but I swear to God, there's something in the water here that makes everybody a dumbass on the road. It's like, I don't know. I feel like in Cali, like my experience in Cali is like, they don't want you to merge for some reason. You'll put your directional and they'll just like pass you slowly. It's like, okay, but you can expect that. You know what I'm saying? Out here, you can expect shit. It just happens. And you and I have had this conversation multiple times. I don't know. If
I
it's
have
the-
bad road rage. I've never said this on it.
I'm
I have
working on my road
terrible
rage. I don't get into fights and shit, but I be getting pissed off because why would you do that? But it's a very valid road rage. Like everybody I know here that like drives in a city or in Route 1. Oh my God, Route 1 understands the hell that we have to go through. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be on time unless you leave an hour early to wherever you're going, even if it's a North Shore, because traffic and just dumb drivers combined. Oh my God.
North Shore traffic is. I mean, South Shore traffic is bad too. That Route
'Cause the
3
Cape.
bullshit. Oh my God, bro.
God.
I straight up, if Chris has got a Cape house, if Chris is like, oh, we're going to the Cape on a Friday, I'm like, I'll see you Saturday morning.
Literally.
I won't do it. I won't drive down to the Cape on a
Yeah,
Friday. I
no,
will not do
no.
it because
It's the worst
it's
day.
2 lanes. It goes from 4 lanes on 93 to then 3 lanes, and then so conveniently, sarcasm obviously, to 2 lanes. What are we doing?
Why do mass roads do that? Why do they like have so many just to be like that? And that's the problem. It over condenses all of
And then our
this.
HOV lanes make no sense. Like you go other places in the
Yeah.
country, their HOV lanes actually make sense. Has there been a moment where someone did something that you can remember, just so stupid driving that you were just like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
It's always on Route 1. I don't understand why people are like merging off a highway or onto a highway and go slow. Like some cars have to be slow at first. Like I understand that, but they will stay slow. What the fuck? Why are you going 20 on the highway? Or why, if you're gonna turn off the highway, like for example, one of those plazas on Route 1.
Yep.
People on Route 1
of
have
those.
to fly. They have to. It's the flow. So you have to go like 55, 60 at least at any hour of the day. If you're going to turn and like go like this, you're subject to a fucking accident. It's not even like a funny road rage. Like it's actually dangerous. You know what I'm saying? That's my biggest pet peeve is when people turn slow out of a busy and fast lane. It's actually dangerous. And you have to like be very careful of that. Maybe you have to swerve around them and slow down at the same time. It's too dangerous, man. Smarten the fuck up. I feel like listen, licenses should not be that available out here. They should not be. I've been driving with a license for only a year now. I got my license late, but I had my permit for a few years before, so I understand things before I got my license. But like, people are ages older than me and can't drive, and I'm like, what the fuck?
My biggest pet peeve driving, without question, if we are in traffic and you cut me off to get a car length ahead. What?
Where the fuck are you going? Now I'm not going,
Where? What did that solve,
bro.
Okay, you're gonna get to your destination 0.5 seconds quicker now. Really? You cut me off, almost got us in an accident, so that way you get a car length ahead. The fuck is wrong with you?
You know what's funny?
Why are you doing that?
Nah, you know what's funny about that? I always see that happen to me, but then I always get ahead of them, not even trying to.
You end up ahead of them anyway.
Fucking hilarious.
It
I'm
happened to
like,
me this
ha ha.
Exactly. That's where the road rage comes in. It happened to me this morning. This dude, we're really in traffic necessarily, but there was a car, like, you know, I like to keep some distance in front of me. I don't like driving with my girlfriend. Sorry, baby, I love you, but like she rides asses. I hate that shit too. I'm like, fucking
God.
give him some space, will ya? For crying out loud. So I'm giving the car in front of me some space because, you know, you gotta potentially brake for, you know, things that potentially go wrong. And this dude cut me off. We're like, you know, he got in front of me, and I'm like, bro, what did that freaking solve?
His egotistical fucking needs.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you, I'm gonna get ahead of you. I'm like, okay.
And then like down the line, I'm about to merge, and I noticed like I got way ahead of him at one point.
Right.
And I'm like, okay,
Hello.
so, hello,
It's
because he's
just
trying to merge.
I feel like I don't
crazy.
know if it's a mass thing or just a driver's thing, but
It's a
people need
stupid
to worry
people
about
thing.
safety before they worry about their fucking
It's a
ego and getting there
stupid
ahead of
people
some
thing.
people. Like, bro, you could hurt yourself and somebody else. There could be a baby in the car you're fucking with. What are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
People don't think
either
about
way.
that kind of shit.
Nope.
Why do people in pickup trucks? I'm sorry, I'm not stereotypical person, but people in pickup truck, listen to me. Stop doing this shit you do late at night. Why the fuck do y'all follow me, ride on my ass with your high beams on when it's late at night and nobody's around? Where are you rushing to? You can literally just go around me. There's nobody there. Why, bro? I don't understand.
That would be the moment to go around.
That's what pisses me off the most when I drive, because there's no reason. Like other people, like if they want to get ahead of you, it's annoying. But it's like we're all trying to get somewhere. It's like, oh, you're gonna rush, cool. It's kind of expected. But if there's nobody, like, do you want me to get out? Like, what the fuck are you trying to do? Is that a message you're
I
sending
own the
me?
road.
It's like,
move over.
It's like, okay, now I'm gonna go slower. Like, I'm petty. Don't do that shit.
Oh, well, rear end me, and then it'll be your fault. You know what I mean?
That's just his laws. Chess, not checkers. Fuck you talking about?
I'm so glad I left that for the end. That was pop quiz with Lib. Yeah, you passed. Flying colors. Great job.
Thank you.
I want to talk about obviously I buried the lead. You're moving to LA. So proud of you, man. Congratulations. That's fantastic. I know something you've been thinking about doing for a while. So why now? And what is your plan going out there, and what are your goals like long term to be out in LA?
So I honestly didn't want to do it this soon. But it became a situation where I thought to myself, like, the longer I give it before I do it, the slower things go. Not that I'm in a rush, like we talked about. But I do feel like it's a personal decision that I have to make to understand that I'm on a path that's reassuring a little bit. I imagine myself like getting onto Paradise Rock Club as a Boston artist and like being May nominated and all that and staying here for all that because I have high ambitions. Like I know I can do stuff like that. But for me, it's also about life. Like it isn't just about like accolades, even hometown pride. Like I'm always gonna have hometown pride. I was raised in Lynn in Boston as well. Like I've went back and forth, so I have pride of where I'm from, and I'm always gonna carry that. I'm always gonna say on dead dogs and like that's my shit. But like I know that my situations in each state can differ, and I weighed it all out. And I took my third trip to LA, like I would say a month and some change ago. And now that I'm seeing what's possible and who I've met and I know what happens out there, it's like that's a chance for me to take from my career. But in terms of personal life too, I think it's better. It's just so many reasons I won't say on camera, and it's not anything bad. But for me, it's like, okay, this is even more reassurance that I should do it. So it's, my intention originally was to wait until I build to a point here where it's like I capped at Boston. Like I got to the highest point I could and now I'm out. But I have also realized like from my personal situation, I would be suffering more trying to do that. So it's more like instead of stifling my own growth, I could take a chance, So my plan, I'll be transparent. I don't move with a plan. I tried to move with a plan, but I realized that when you're a musician, you don't really have a plan to make until you have certainty to work with. It's a very uncertain industry. Life itself is uncertain. I feel like it's okay to have a roadmap, and I have a roadmap in my head. And basically, I just want to be the best I can be and grow and see how far I can go. You know what I'm saying? I know it's limitless. I know that the only one who can limit myself is me. And because of that, I don't have a concrete plan, but I have a concrete belief that you can go as far as you want to as long as you don't stop and as long as you learn along the way. And something at NAMM that was said a lot by big engineers that were on the panels. They said a lot of people go to LA trying to be know-it-alls. I feel like anywhere you go, LA or not, if you're trying to be like, I know this, I know that, you're actually dumb. If you open yourself up to learning from mistakes from other people, knowing your role, knowing what to do and when, that only multiplies your wins because you're staying humble. And that's not only good karma, but it's also helpful in the way you move and the way you think. If your head gets too big and you get ahead of yourself, your foot gets shot right off. Can't do that. So, I'm never going to be like, oh, I'm in LA, you got to pay me for a feature now. Like, no, I'm still lit. I'm not changing for any location, but it's been a dream of mine and honestly an intuition of mine too. Like over the last summer, my gut was screaming at me, just fucking go, just go. And I was like, wait, arguing with myself. And then as the half of the year went by, I'm like, you know what? Your intuition does not lie to you. It can be like, for example, I have anxiety, right? So my mind can go from being anxious to being confident. It can always switch because anxiety does that to you. It can lie to you. It can make you afraid of certain things and make you think it's intuition, but it's just fear or doubt or worry or all the above. So after concrete time thinking about it and marination of it, I'm like, okay, so what's going to happen if I stay is I never get to find out. What's going to happen if I leave is I get to find out. And I'm in a position right now where it wouldn't be life or death. I can come back or I can stay out there and make things happen. I could do both. I'm open to whatever is right for me. I'm not trying to like climb up the ladder and be the top dog, or am I trying to not do that either? I'm open to whatever feels right for me in my soul. Like a lot of people are in the music for the wrong reasons, man. Like a lot of people just want to get a quick buck or like make a bag and blow up. It isn't that simple. This shit is a fucking journey, and it tests your creativity, it tests your passion, it tests your character, And people are gonna spot bullshit from a mile away. People always talk about LA is fake, LA is fake. No, it's not. People can smell bullshit out there because it's professional industry, resources out there that people don't always know about. So I feel like anywhere you go, it's good to be real to yourself. So to answer your question in a short way, I can't predict the future. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I have a feeling that's gonna be great. And my intuition never lied to me. So
I thought that was an excellent answer. I mean, I'm really happy that, because I think sometimes people wait for an opportunity to make the move instead of just making the move that will eventually create opportunity,
Bingo. And that's the thing too, is I already have small signs that actually became big, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
duh, the clouds are clear now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Man.
Well, man, like I said, incredibly proud of you, excited for you. Still in your corner no matter where you are in the world.
Likewise.
So, that nothing there changes. Maybe I got somebody else now I can come visit if I ever go down to LA.
Yeah.
I've said that for a few people and I haven't even taken them up on that. But yeah, you're now another
When I'm
person.
rich, I'll fly you out. Don't worry.
No. I'll pay my way out there. It's okay. I don't need that handout. But I appreciate that either way. No, listen, and just like I'm grateful that, the last year and a half of you being here, that we were able to build and grow. That meant a lot to me. You've been incredibly helpful with Masterclass,
Thank you,
the
man.
album. I'm a little disappointed and upset that you won't be here for the the listening party and sort of all that stuff. But you definitely have a huge spirit in that project. You mixed a couple of the songs. You're on a few of the songs, so that really meant a lot to me. I know that you really met Julian through that process, and you guys became close, and that means more to me than anything that album will do. So that really meant a lot to me. And then of course us doing Intent together, that was one of my favorite, if not my favorite, music videos I've done. It's really been yours and Zaffir's the favorites I've done. And then I'm proud of every single one that I've gotten a chance to do and will do. But I felt like that was some of my best work as a videographer, and you pushed me to be better at my craft.
Likewise, too. You pushed me to act better. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Me and you have a thing where we're gonna always build for each other and with each other. That's important to have in the industry as well.
Yeah. No, we've had plenty of moments where I feel like we've either helped each other grow or we experienced things together. And it's been great to consider you a friend, and I just appreciate everything that we got to do together. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily end. I'm sure we'll still work together in some capacity, right? We'll figure it out. I'm sure this won't be the end of all that, but at least
nothing, man.
Right. If anything, this was all the beginning, so
Exactly.
that meant a lot. But I just wanted to make sure I said that before, and we wrap up here, because I really feel like that needed to be said. So thank you so much for helping me grow. And I'm excited for everything you got coming for you, bro. You are. You think, I'm 24. You're 24 now, right? You said 24. You are still so effing young, man. And you're making the move at the right time. You've matured enough and you've grown enough to the point where, you probably have more to max out here in Boston. But I love how you said this. I feel like I did about as much as I could, and when you feel that, it's time. You know what I mean? And that's okay. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. Like you said, who knows? You could end up back here at some point, and that's totally fine too. So whatever happens, you just got to trust that gut and trust that you are gonna be. If you trust yourself, at the end of the day, you'll be in the right spot that you need to be.
I appreciate that. And the thing is about it too is like you said, knowing when it's time. I feel like knowing what to max out or what could be maxed out isn't all there is. It's about, first of all, how much do you want to max out, and do you even understand what maxing that out even is? Do you understand what the steps are? That's the thing about it is you could figure out either or, And the thing is, another thing about it for me personally is I don't need to consider this the end of anything. This is not.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna show love to Lynn in Boston, I always do. I'm always gonna comment the fire emojis, hit people up, be yo, your song was dope as fuck. Repost them if I'm really feeling it. Feel my fans will fuck with it too. I'll always be the kind of person that's Boston and Lynn, Massachusetts pride, bro. You know what I'm saying? And people are gonna know I'm from here. And I'm gonna, I'm from LA. I'm not gonna do that phony ass shit. Fuck out of here. But yeah, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lib. One of my favorite people in the scene. Again, I was even talking about this with Julian last night at our men's league game. We were laughing about it. I was can't believe I hadn't had Lib on yet. But then again, I mentioned that this couldn't have probably been the better time to have you. as almost like your send off podcast. So
I appreciate it.
I'm glad we waited. I'm really glad we waited. So can't let you go quite yet. Last thing we always do on Turntable Teachers is the open response, and we do the dream song scenario. So you get a song, all right? It's a lib song. You can get 1 to 2 producers and up to 3 guest artists, dead or alive, who would be on Lib's dream song scenario.
This is gonna be tough. My all-time favorite producer is Kanye, so he's gonna be on the producer list. He's one of 2 producers. Let me give it some thought. Give me Travis as a producer too.
Okay. We've never had Travis as a producer. I like that.
Travis
that
is
move.
very inspired by Kanye, so I feel like Kanye would bring what he's always had, and then some, and Travis would create it to be even more experimental.
Totally.
And you said 3 artists?
Up to 3.
Up to
3. You can get 3. Some people don't always go. They don't want to do all 3, but yeah, you get up to 3.
So Kanye and Travis on production together. Give me Don Toliver.
Okay.
Give me. This is tough. Don Toliver has the hook for sure.
Okay,
Or
I like
maybe
that.
a verse.
I like that.
Give me J. Cole.
J. Cole?
He would kill a feature.
Yeah.
Give me Kanye as an artist too.
Okay, I like it. All right.
I
Hey,
could have went out of bounds and I wanted to be concise. So
concise. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always funny. I always get fascinated how people take this. Some people are just like, oh, it's a dream song. I'll just mishmash all this together.
Yeah.
And like it'll work. And I love that aspect too. But then some people like look at it like, okay, I really want to think about how this is going to be like cohesive and mesh. So it's always just funny to see different people's takes on it. Like, oh, I'm just getting my favorite artist that on versus like, I want to make a cohesive song. Again, nothing wrong with either one.
Because I was thinking Kendrick a few times, but I was like, nah, like, what would Kendrick do that would blend with? I mean, he could do it, but like, in terms of the song I have in my head, I'm thinking like some spacey, trap, vibey, but like orchestral, because Kanye type of shit. And with a braggadocious Kanye verse and J. Cole talking and shit, and Don Toliver on the hook, it'd be unique, it'd be different, and it would be dope. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
So, yeah.
Lib, featuring Don Toliver, J. Cole, and Kanye West, produced by Kanye West and Travis Scott. I think it would be a smash hit.
Thank you.
We're manifesting that into the world as he, again, makes his journey over to LA. Lib, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
Best
me.
of luck with everything you got going on in the future. We are always here to support, and, you know, I love you to death, bro.
Love you too, man. Appreciate you so
I appreciate
much.
you as a friend, not even
Likewise, man.
outside of this music
Yeah.
shit. It's friends.
love,
I appreciate you, man.
Likewise.
And all that's left to do, plug away. Where can the people find you? Anyone else you want to shout out? And yeah, floor is yours.
What's good, y'all? It is Lib, at Lib the Lion, LYON on Instagram and every other social platform. I am moving to LA. This is my send off podcast with Mike at Turntable Teachers. I want to let y'all know that you can find me on all platforms at Lib, L-I-B. My new song, If You Want It, featuring Jeff, Julian Mendoza, and Amari Imani, my boo, is out now, and you guys will love it. Play it on your way to work tomorrow morning, if it's on a weekday. I mean, weekend, whatever the fuck.
Just play it anyway.
Yeah, play the song, enjoy the hustle, enjoy the grind. If you have a dream, go for that shit. Make the sacrifices. Don't regret nothing. Don't put yourself up in a position where you can't regret anything. Take that chance. Love y'all.
It's a hell of an outro there. If you are a fan of Lib, just coming on to us for the first time, you can find us at Turntable Teachers on Instagram and TikTok. Make sure to hit up our website, turntableteachers.com. And then, of course, if you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, make sure to reach out to us at aoastudios.org to book your session or service today. Once again, Lib, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
This has been nothing but a pleasure, and best of luck. I'm Mike. That's Lib with the Turntable Teachers, and class is officially dismissed.
Turn.